dabbing in, talking about our girl, Halle Berry, about her not being motherly, not cooking and cleaning. So we're going to talk about that with y'all today. We want to talk about what is those duties supposedly, what y'all see the air quotes, supposedly for the woman to be doing in a relationship. Is she supposed to be cooking and cleaning? Is she? Let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it.
Yes.
So I thought this was wild. Okay, go ahead, sis.
So I'm gonna say this. So let's get into it. So in case some people don't know, matter of fact, I'm going to even bring on my TikTok people because we need to let them hear this too. Oh no, it's already. Oh no, it's working. Yes. High five. It's actually on there. Yes, it is. High five it. Okay, it worked. Okay, so let's get into it. Halle Berry's ex-husband says she's not a good wife because she doesn't cook, doesn't clean, and supposedly lacks maternal traits. But now Halle Berry's out here on Instagram sipping on coconuts, smiling, and talking about cooking, cleaning, and mothering. Now, is this her throwing shade? Is this a clapback? Or we still in 2025 measuring woman's worth by what she does in the kitchen and around the house? So let's just get into it. Is that something that is still going on in 2025? Because I'm trying to figure out, because I don't know, you tell me, because me personally, when I saw the interview and I seen the clip, my thought on it was, y'all both with two separate people. You was with her back in 93 or something like that. So my thing is, why is she even still a topic? Like, she's living rent free in your head, because
in your mouth.
Exactly. The last person that I would be trying to talk about on an interview in 2025 if somebody I divorced back in the 90s. Like, wouldn't that be somebody I'd be like, okay, that happened, is over. I have a life. I was a baseball player. I have a whole lot of other things. I'm married. I got a new wife. Like, why are we not talking about her? Why are we talking about somebody from the past? So to me, it's giving me, I don't know. You tell me what you think about it.
It's giving me that his fluffy behind is irrelevant. That's what it's giving me. 3 decades, my guy. 30 years ago. Your fluffy ass has still got her name in your mouth. Right. But this is amazing. The fact that when you, okay, let me calm down. When you told me today this was going to be the topic, I had just saw on the YouTube yesterday, I think it was, that he was talking about her, right? And then today I saw where they said she had the clap back. When you called me saying this is the topic, right? But okay, I have never, this what brought up all these old memories for me, because back in the day, let me just share this with the audience if they don't know, because see, I'm old enough to remember this, because I'm 62 now. So if that was 30 years ago, I was 30 then, right? So I remember clearly when Halle Berry was married to David Justice. He was the all-star in Atlanta. He was the Atlanta baseball player, and she was getting into the movies and whatnot. But he was also popular then. But what I remember from their relationship is that when they broke up, she was so distraught. She was so broken that he was divorcing her, right? That she just felt overwhelmed. People were coming at her. And prior to that, the reason I stopped dealing with Wesley Snipes is because he the one that knocked the hearing out of her left ear. Remember that? Wesley Snipes slapped her so hard that she definitely.
Now, is that true, or was
that true? That is
an assumption because people knew that she was dating him?
No, it's a true story, because she told the story before, but she never said his name. She never said that it was Wesley Snipes, because see, she was still trying to get jobs in Hollywood. She was still trying to get work. So she didn't want to air him out like that. But when the truth came out, he smacked her so hard that she went deaf in her ear. So that's why I stopped fooling with Wesley Snipes. And I was glad when he had the tax evasion and he went to jail. I didn't fool with him no more after that, because you're going to put your hands on her like that. So anyway, let's fast forward back to David Justice. When he was cheating on her in Atlanta, he was a big old 304 down there in Atlanta, right? And then she was so distraught that she told this story in an interview, or either on Oprah, somewhere she told this story, that she was in her car, in her garage with the car on. She was finna kill herself. She was finna commit suicide in her garage. Girl, I get chills when I think about it. And she said all of a sudden she felt the tap on her shoulder with nobody else in the car. And they said, the voice said, turn the car off. So she turns the car off, get out, and she decided, I'm not going out like this, right? But come to find out, 2 or 3 years later, she wins the Oscar. And she stood on that stage in that fly burgundy dress and talked about all the women who went before her, you know, the fact that she was so happy to be there. And I was so proud and happy for her that she did not take her life. Because in situations, in relationships, that you could get so down that if she would have killed herself that day, she never would have had that moment. Right. And that's what that said to me as a young woman that was feeling, you know, all defeated and sad about relationships, but never take yourself out behind a man. And then now here this fluffy demon come along this many years later talking about why didn't she tell the world? They see he mentions it too, that I wasn't the one to hear her, but she let everybody think that ain't her job to make the people think nothing. Right. She never said you did it. She didn't even tell the people that you was a big whoremonger in Atlanta cheating on her either. Why you want her to cook and clean? Now, okay, let me give you my thoughts on it. If you're the multi-millionaire, like you said, you had all the money, my guy, hire a maid and a chef. Because I'm working, I'm doing my thing. Who says I got to cook and clean, my guy? Who said that? And then you got to look at it for 2025. My husband is the chef of my house. My husband does the laundry in my house. He even made me this lemonade. Come on. Water with fresh squeezed lemon juice. Who gonna do what? But I'll clean the kitchen after he cooked. I pick up the dog poo in the yard. I got a little dog too, praise God. But you got to define your own roles. Don't nobody get to do that. And y'all should have talked about it. But here you come 30 years later talking about that's why you left her because she couldn't mother. My gosh, I'm glad she didn't have no children with you. Because she would have still been attached to your fluffy crybaby ass.
Now, let me look, because I was actually looking at some, let me see if I can pull it up. Because I was actually looking at some of these, like these comments that people was making on this. And some of them were a little disturbing because it was like, okay, now, you know, people are saying, okay, you know, some people are like talking for her. Then you have some people that's talking against it. But then it's like you have some people who are just like, okay, you need to start dating women that are not American, because that's the American women are basically those ones that's living in this new era type of thing. What do you think about that? I'm trying to pull up the actual, because I want to read it just as they said it. Hold on. Because that kind of threw me
off. I think that is a crock of poo-poo. And then what you need to do, you know, I'm trying to stop cussing. These people gonna make me start cussing. Right. Because what I feel is that it depends on your relationship. Right. It depends on who you rocking with. Like I said, my husband take pride in cooking me food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I tell you, I went to bed in the wee out this morning at 8 o'clock. Before I went to bed, he made my breakfast. I had oatmeal with apples and bacon and some coffee. And I'm just saying, it depends on your relationship. But if you bragging about that, she had a business, she had a career too. And if you got a match,
that was at the height of her career, though. That was at the height of her career, because that was the 90s. That's when Boomerang was out.
Yes. And I'm saying, if you want to brag about how much money you got,
that's when she was really in the height of her career.
And I'm thinking, do you think I'm going to have a job in a career and I'm going to clean the mansion? I'm going to clean the mansion.
And one person said, okay, right. And they said, They divorced when I was in elementary school. I'm 40. Why is we talking about this in 2025? I'm thinking in my head. Then
Come on.
another person said maternal. She is not your mother. And then we have another person saying, cooking and cleaning isn't a woman trait. It's a human trait. All adults should know how to do that for themselves or even pay for it. If you genuinely love a woman, learn her strengths and her weaknesses, and she learns yours. If y'all both can do what the other doesn't do, then it's genuine, equitable love. Who cares who does what? If you love each other, who cares who does what? That
Exactly.
to me is really real, because it's like you don't have to put a stamp on what a person is supposed to be doing, because you figure a long time ago when like our grandparents, I don't know why this seemed to be moving, and it's like
I was
it's
just gonna say that to you. I wasn't gonna interrupt you, but yours
right.
you came moving glitchy.
Yeah, it seemed like it's glitching a whole lot.
I can hear you good though. You got the audio is great.
Right. So what they was, hold on, let me see if because
There
I
you
don't
go. You
know if
coming.
it's the signal. Let me see. It's coming back in now. You can see it.
You look a little
You see me
normal
good?
now. Yes.
Okay, cool. Okay. So back then we was talking about like when grandparents and things were back in the day, and you had the grandmothers in the kitchen, and the men used to go out and work while the women
Mhm.
normally were the housewives. They would stay home and they would be doing the cooking and cleaning, and the husband would go out and do the work. Like they would be the workers, they were bringing in the money. So the women's, and to me personally, I feel like, I remember, matter of fact, I'm gonna give you an example. There was a lady that used to live across the street from me when I was younger, and she was a stay-home wife. And what she used to do is she was the one to do the cooking and cleaning and going to the grocery store and different things like that. However, her husband, he went to work. Now, because she was home all day, when the time she timed everything, so when her husband came home from work, she already had his food hot on the, she had his bath water ran, like his water was ran. So when he came in the house from work, he went straight to the tub to go take his bath. By the time he got out the tub and got downstairs, his plate was on the table. Now
Okay.
that to me is something that I agree with. When you ain't doing nothing, if you're not working, I feel like if
Okay.
you're not working, regardless if you're a man or a woman, I feel like those type of things is things that you should be doing if you're not working. I
Okay.
shouldn't, you shouldn't just be sitting home not doing nothing and just
Right.
like think your looks is going to do everything. Like you got to be doing something. Like if you're not bringing in nothing and you're not working and you're not doing nothing, I feel like that is your job to do certain things inside the household. You should take that off for the person who is working, because if a person going to work, going busting their butt out there all day, or if they're working for themselves, doing whatever they're doing, and you not doing none of those type of things, then I feel like that should be things that you should be doing. What you think about that?
I think that's absolutely correct, because I remember that time, because I'm 62 years young. I was born
Mm-hmm.
in 63. I saw my auntie doing that. I understood that, and I saw that even when I lived in Cali, I had a good god mom. I used to go to her house, honey. She cooked through the week. Her husband didn't eat leftovers. That's how Mr. Calloway mindset was. She had to cook every day. But even when they were both retired, but he was the breadwinner, she
Mm-hmm.
stayed home, and that's the mindset. She was in her 70s, her 80s. That was their genre. That's what it was back then. If you did not work outside the home, you maintain the home. I think that's a beautiful thing. That's a mutual
Mm-hmm.
respectful agreement. And even like I said, I know I've been blessed because I got
Mm-hmm.
married when my third, the king came in 2018, and since I've been married, I even when we first got married, my husband has always been the cook. Even when I was still working before we moved out here to Vegas, when he got off work, he came to me to my spot and cooked. Right? He cooked then. And that's just who he was. That's what he wanted to do. So now, even that we're both, I'm retired, he's semi-retired. That's still his thing. He loves to cook. He loves to do laundry. You're telling me God
Mm-hmm.
ain't good. I got a man that laundry relaxes him. So the roles are reversed, but I call myself the sous chef. If he need me to cut up anything, whatever he need me to do, but I clean the kitchen. I love a clean kitchen and clean bathrooms. I don't play them games. But that's what I do. We got a little dog with her little park out back in the yard. I pick up the dog poo. That's what I do. Okay. In the 100-degree heat, but my cup thing is covered. But honey, I'll take care of that. But there are roles, and I believe that when the roles are defined clearly, that's what they are. But I think this man is full of it, and sometimes people just want to be relevant, and they want to put your name in their mouth. But he wasn't talking about how he was running through the town with his dirty peen and cheating on her. That's what you should have been talking about. I've been delivered from cheating. That would have been a conversation.
Right.
But this is crazy to me. And then he said she wasn't motherly. Y'all didn't have no kids. She supposed to mother your ass. You don't sound like a man to me. It's just my opinion. Allegedly, you were still a little boy looking for your mama. You know. Oh, and she asked me to marry her. I didn't want her to feel bad. You still not a man, because now you're saying you didn't even love her. You wasn't in love with her, and I didn't want to hurt her feelings, so I married her and continue to cheat on her. He needs a therapist.
Well, he said that if they would have went to, now that's one thing that I do agree with. What I like that he did say is because he did state that if they had went to therapy, then they probably could have still been together today. I'm not sure exactly. Like I said, I don't know their full-blown relationship because I
Okay.
Well, he was like, if they went to therapy. So I'm like, I don't know, you know.
Now, if you'd have stayed out that strip club, what's y'all strip club? Magic City. You'd have stayed your behind out the Magic City and went home. Maybe you should have cooked some food at the house instead of cooking it up in the strip club. These just are my opinions. My opinion. But no, you wanted your hard-working wife to clean the mansion. I wish I would be married to a multi-millionaire and he tell me to clean the mansion. And that, if we just want to do it for kicks and giggles, me and you both gonna clean the mansion.
Right.
On our off day, whenever we in town on the same day, let's just put some scrubs on and run through the house. Let's just do that together. But I'm not gonna do that. No.
I just think it's crazy that was even a conversation to me. I just thought it was just crazy. Now, all right, let's take them out of the equation. Let's talk about just regular people in general. Okay. Why is it when you out of a situation, if you're not in the relationship no more, is it like, to me, do you think that people are just not over a person if they still keep having a conversation about a person that they are no longer connected to? Like if you're, because to me, people would say, if you're in a new relationship and you're happy, why you keep bringing me up? Like, why am I living rent free in your mind? Like, why am I even in your thoughts at all if you have moved on and you happy?
Okay, this is a good one. I can address this because a lot of times I think I kind of get caught in this because of like you know, I'm a 2-time divorcee, right? I got married at 19, 45, and 55 is the one for life now, right? And I'm 62. I've been married going on 7 years. My 7-year anniversary coming up.
Hey.
But okay, when I think back but here is the reason that I will talk about the second marriage, because I felt like I got duped, right? I kind of got the trickery thrown on me because being saved, having a relationship, I thought I was marrying a man of God. He turned out to be a fraud, all of this. But the reason that I bring that up is because on my Real Talk, my podcast, I want to be talking about relationships. I want to tell women to start using your discernment and don't be in desperation. Discernment over desperation. Right. Because sometimes we could get a little older, we start getting desperate. We want a man so bad, we'll settle for some stuff. And we'll allow people to come pull up to our table with nothing on their plate. All they got is some silverware. They finna eat off you, right? So I was in that scenario. I found it out very quickly. And I'm like, damn, what has happened here? And then I sat in that for 8 years, but I decided I wasn't going to die in it. Right. Because I know who I am. So when I speak about this, My husband will always remind me, you had to go through that to get to here. I had to go through that trauma and that drama. And I mean, it was some trauma and drama in order for God to put his hand on me and send me this king. I had to ask God because I did not petition God for that second husband. I just thought I want a man know the word. I just want a man in the church. And you know what? After when the wheels was falling off the wagon, the Holy Spirit said the devil know the word. You didn't consult me. So my point is, when I speak about this, it ain't because ain't no way in the world that I want that situation back. But if I could warn another sister, if I can encourage another woman, get in the presence of God and be specific about what you want in your relationship. The Bible says God will give you the desires of your heart. And he ain't never lied. Because at 55 years old, he brought me a cooking man and a man that relaxes to doing my laundry, folds it up, and then I just have to put it away. That don't argue with me. We don't argue. My husband is a non-argumentative guy. And I could tell if he getting irritated about something, he'll just press his lips. Like, I don't even want to get into nothing. Girl, back in the day, oh, honey, that STL, and I'm saved, loving God, got a relationship. Fire to come from the soles of my feet and travel up through my ears and out of my mouth. And I was a verbal assassin. But I had to assassinate this man not now day. The two arguments, real ones that we done had in 7 years, they was about other people, his others. That wasn't even about me and him. But I feel my experience is that you could talk about a thing, but ain't no way in the hell I would want that back. But if I could warn another sister, because that's my thing, I want to encourage and empower women. And let them know, don't get desperate, baby. You got to use your discernment and trust God. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, lean not to your own understanding. In all of your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. And for some of y'all, he building him right now. He preparing your mate, if you so choose to have one. Everybody don't want to be in a relationship. Get free, stay free, okay? But when people just out the blue talking smack, that's crazy. And then for him to say, okay, back to them, but he said, why did she tell the world that I didn't slap her? Because she don't care that much about you after 30 years. That's why. If you didn't do it, why you talking about? And I know who did it. But I ain't gonna say, shut your mouth.
Yes, that was so childish to me. I just felt like that was just so high. Like, I mean, that was something you see young couples in school doing, like just bringing up some stuff. Like, I just feel like, I don't know, because I even dealt with that before, where I actually had been in a situation with someone from the past, and the crazy thing is, the person literally tried to say, like, mind you, I'm not even thinking about this person, and they literally called my child. It was like, you know, your mom was calling me. And I'm like, and then the crazy thing about it is, the person said that I was using my child's phone to call. And mind you, this is how off the person is. I'm using my child's phone. And she's like, well, I know that's not true, because I'm in college in a whole nother state with my phone. But it's like, sometimes people will just put your name and just want to have something to say, just because they want to make you look bad, but they not even really doing their homework before they make the comment. So it was just like, really? I'm doing what now? I was like,
ain't no way. Because if anything, I'd be thinking, thank God I got free. Girl, out there on the bow of the ship, I just wants to be free. And thanking God, but no way. But I think for people that are not over you, people that have wronged you, that you still living in their head, because they playing it back and they looking at it. And I used to say, for the longest time, Halle just had the worst time with guys, because that model guy, she ended up having to pay him hundreds of thousands of dollars, paying him alimony every month. You better get you a job. They say you a model, you better hit a runway. But I just couldn't even. Celebrities,
like women, go through that. But honestly, because it's like before, and I don't want to make it into a thing of, oh, that's man, oh, that's woman, because in the legal portion, they always go off of who makes the most, you know what I mean, whether you're a man or a woman. But it just so happens that in the past, you will have some women that will, you know, sometimes they will, like, shucks, look at what happened with what's his name, Shannon Sharp. Like, you know, with him having to pay out, what was that, 25 million per butt cheek or some crap. And it's like, oh, and I'm just like, but it's like stuff like that where it's like some, and I'm not saying this, I don't know her personally, but allegedly, as they say, you know, I feel like sometimes some women, and not all, but sometimes some women go to these different men that have the money. The same thing with men. Sometimes they may go to these women that have the money, and then they will use their head on them, making them think that they're so in love because they know once they're tied into that person, now they're entitled to their earnings because now they're married if they don't have their paperwork done right. And so that's why I say, like what you talked about in our last conversation, when you talked and you was telling people about making sure you have your prenups and different things in order, and it don't always have to be about having millions of dollars. You could be a person that was making $30,000 and that person might not have a job and they can be trying to come in until you're 30. Now you don't even have enough money to live. You know what I mean? With rent and mortgages things being so expensive. So that's why I'm like, people really have to watch these things when going into different relationships with people. And I'm not saying you can't date nobody who's less than, because y'all can come up together if y'all have the right mindset. However, you need to also really pay attention and ask those questions in those different relationships. Like, because sometimes, and I'm not going to say, because you figure, okay, look at where we come from. We both were employees before. Most people have jobs before they start becoming a business owner. So even as sometimes in some situations, you could be a person like me or you or whoever that might have been working a 9 to 5. And so you were dating or you were married to somebody who also was working a 9 to 5. And so now y'all both was doing the same thing. Y'all on the same page, y'all working, doing the same routine lifestyle, going to work, coming home, going to work, coming home. You know what I mean? That was your lifestyle. But then once you change that lifestyle, you may start doing things a little bit different, because now you're like, okay, I want to become a business owner. I want to start my own business. So now I'm not just going to work and coming home. I'm going to work, I'm coming home, and I'm working my business until I can get myself off my job from my business. So now that I'm starting to focus on business as a business owner, I now have a different mentality. So now I'm looking at things. I'm not sitting down watching Love and Hip Hop and Housewives. Like, I'm not doing all that all the time, you know, or having as much free time as I used to. Like, I might do that while I'm working or, you know, or whatever, but it's like my mentality is different. So when I dated that person with that 9 to 5, I now as a business owner may not be able to connect with that person anymore. And it's not that there's love lost. It's just because now their mentalities are different. This person may still have a 9 to 5 mentality, whereas though now I'm in that entrepreneur mindset. So our two can't come together because of the fact that it's like, okay, we're not on the same page.
The trajectory changes. The trajectory can absolutely change. But like you mentioned, like you say, if even I call it a poor working people's prenup, especially if you're in California, you better think about it. You better get one, because everything after that date of y'all marriage is considered community property. And if you are the worker bee and you just got a leech sucking off of your blood and your hard sweat and tears, you can have a situation. But let's think about this. When you say we're talking about regular couples and regular situations and determining what the dynamic is, what if the man cooks better than the woman? What if the man got the skill set that's what he gonna do? And then I'm so blessed. I know I could cook a little bit, honey, because I was living, I was surviving, girl. I got my main dishes that I love to cook and eat, and I can get it in, right? Well, my husband, he get nervous if I get in the kitchen. He'll hover around. You know, he want to do it. He got to touch it. You think I'm mad? I ain't mad. Because I told him, because he do we do the smoothies, the juicing, all of that, right? So I told him we got a little blender. We got a new blender, a big one, and it comes like with that little bullet thing come to it. So I said, babe, I'm gonna do some stuff today because we got strawberries in there, blueberries, a banana. I said, I must blend me up something today, and I'm gonna put some coconut water in it. No, first he said, you go ahead and do it. I said, okay. I got this. So I tell him what I'm gonna do: strawberries, blueberries, bananas, and I'm put a little coconut water in there. He said, "Never mind, I'll be there for you." Like, because he didn't want me to put water in it, I guess. But it's just certain things in mindset. But if the man takes the lead in that role because that's what he does better, then why wouldn't you let him? Let him do that if that's what he chooses to do. But for him to, but I think that's the thing. That's the good communication. As a couple, you communicate who's got the strengths, who's got the weakness, and how we gonna come together to grow this thing. And I think that would be the best way to go about it. But nobody should put labels on what it ought to be because this is not 1950.
Yeah, because like I'm like, I just don't think that's different now because, like I said, roles have changed even with women and men. Like you have some women actually making more money than men. You know what I mean? Than men. So if you're making more than that person, and sometimes you may be out more. You may be doing things like before. It was kind of like I understood that the man may be going from the home because he's working. Now it may be the thing for the woman to be going from the home because she's working. So sometimes roles can change. And so it's not really a woman thing or a man thing. It's about a us thing. Like what can we do together to make our relationship work? How can we put this together? Like, because I feel like at the end of the day, it has to be basically about an us. It can't be about just you and it's not I, it's about us.
Us and a we. It's a us and a we thing. Right. And if you don't have that in your spirit, that is not your partner. And even like I said, when I was working, I was the breadwinner in my last relationship. But dang, when I come home, my guy, you can't even cook no food. And then the only time you are gonna cook food is when you're hungry. You got me mixed up.
And see, that's what I was saying. When you're home, that should be something that as a person not working, cooking and cleaning should be your job. Honestly, like that's how I feel. If you're not going to work, there should be no reason that I should have to come home and have to do that if you've been home all day and you're not doing anything. Now, there's one thing I can understand if you like out all day because of the fact that you're like looking for jobs and you had a whole bunch of interviews. But nowadays, most of the stuff is done online. You know what I mean? So it's like you're not even having to really leave unless they want an in-person interview. And sometimes they even do that on Zoom these days. So it's like you have to, you know what I mean? So it's like we have to be realistic on what, on what people got to do. I saw that and I just was like, that just tickled me how so many people would just, and then I seen one guy who actually made a comment saying, he basically was saying that is why so many women are single because they feel like they're not supposed to be doing it. And I was just like, oh, fall back. Like, now I'm a person who I work a lot. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'll be sitting here like, oh, it's not enough hours in the day, because I'm trying to jingle and do so many different things. And so it's like, okay, for me, I will do it sometimes. But it's like for me, even I don't have time to be doing that on no daily basis. Now, my mother, just like you said, she's the type of person that did not do leftovers. So she was a person who would mainly cook. Like she would want something new every day because she wasn't a leftover. She don't like to eat leftovers. Matter of fact, to this day, she still will drop her leftovers over here because she don't want to eat it if she make too much food. And she will come bring them by. She's like, I don't want that, Or now, but I've been trying to show her. But she's been doing better with making smaller portions of food. So now she don't have to worry about it. But it took her a while because she owned a bar. So by her being in a bar business and being gone all the time in there, she always was used to making big, things of food that wasn't something that she was doing, like making small. She was so used to making big portions. And so
that's mom's choice, though.
Right.
That's your choice. See, it's a choice thing. It's got to be about what works for you.
Right.
That's what I think. I think it got to be about what works for you, but nobody putting you in a box.
Right.
You can put people in a box, and that's what it is.
Yeah, and that's what I think it really is about not being able to say who has to do it because of your gender. It's just who is it, and then like I said, if both of y'all doing the same thing, y'all can come together. I remember back in the day, Saturdays was the clean day. You used to get up on Saturday, cut that music on, and you be going room to room. You know,
come on, girl. Clean the Isley Brothers.
You got that music on and you just clean it on Saturdays. That was Saturday early before you go. That was your clean day. And then if you was like, I remember in Philly, they even did like the street cleanings where certain days you had to, like, you park your car on one side of the street, you couldn't park on the other, or you couldn't park on the block because you had to do they had the street cleaning.
The street sweepers were coming.
If your car was still there. So I'm just like, it's just like you have to have systems. I think when it comes into relationships and how you run the household, you have to have some type of systems in place. And then, like you said, there's a lot of men who really, there's some women who can't even boil an egg. You know what I mean? So you got some people who can and cannot, depend on how they were raised and who taught them. Because if you don't have somebody teaching you how to do something, well, now there's YouTube where you can sit there and really watch your video and walk step by step from a video and try to put something together. But some people really don't know how to do it.
And then you ought to have that conversation before you get in a relationship with somebody. And especially if that's your expectation.
Right.
And then, because if you did not have that conversation, yet you have this lofty expectations, you're going to be disappointed if you did not discuss that. That's just common sense. But like I said, I don't think that with that, what we started out with, I don't think he was in a common sense kind of place. Because you don't say, I'm going to marry somebody after 5 months and I didn't really want to do it, but I ain't want to hurt their feelings. Well, you are immature fool anyway. But I think for normal folks in this day and age, communication is key. Communication leads to cooperation, and then you have a set expectation. Now, if you tell me you're going to do something, and then when I get with you, it's a whole switch up. You're going to do a 180 on me. You're going to spin around and start acting like the Tasmanian devil and talk about you don't know what talk about. The devil is a lie. I will bring it back to your remembrance, and we got to get an understanding. But I think that needs to be going in. And I don't think I didn't even know how good I actually had it then, but I kind of did, but I didn't know it was going to just like be for life. Because when I first met my husband, I mean, just the generosity, he getting off work. I done got off work. He coming to me to cook for me before he even go home. And so to me, that meant he cared about what I eat. He would call me midday, what you want to eat tonight? If I wanted him to pick it up or come cook it, he'd do it. So I understood. I was like, damn, I got a real one. So that made me feel covered.
You just said something too earlier. You just said y'all coming up on 7, and the number 7 is for what? Completion. So talking about completion, that's it. That's the man for life. That's it.
On. That's it. Completion. This was the one.
He was the one.
He is the one. He the real deal. But I consulted God about him. And my other 2 marriages, I did not consult God. At 19, we both was running. I was running from college, and he was running, and we was running up out of St. Louis. And that 45 rolled around. I was in the church, wanted a man of God, and I just want a man to know the word. Girl, he could preach the word without a note, but he wasn't living a lick of it. Not living it.
Let's talk about that, what you just said. Do you think that when it comes to relationships, that the reason why some people get with people who they really are not supposed to be with is because they feel like there's a time frame that they need to be with somebody and they have to be married by a certain age? Do you think that that's why some people would just settle for certain things?
Absolutely. I believe that, and that's why I can say I want to work with women over 40 to empower them, to let them know that your wisdom and your knowledge can get you paid. So whatever your purpose is, start walking in it, right? But in that moment when I was 45 And at this time, I had went and got my mom. My mom was living with me. My mom was like, when she got cancer at 72, my mom was maybe hitting her 70s. So my mom was living. I had went back to St. Louis, got my mom, brought her to California. Little did I know my eldest sister was coming with her too, because she had a lot of medical and mental stuff going on with her. So now all of a sudden she done latched on. So now into my singleness in my single 2-bedroom apartment, all of a sudden I got my mom and my sister. So then we had to move out of there because I was upstairs and my mom's health was failing. I didn't want her falling down a flight of steps. So then I moved into this double wide trailer situation, 4 bedrooms. So I got my mom, my sister, and me. Was gonna make the next room out of an office. Girl, my auntie started getting dementia. I went back to St. Louis and brought her out. So now I got my mom, my auntie, and my eldest sister, right? And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm out here in Monterey. And Monterey is God's country, but it ain't a lot of brothers. They had shut the base down. So the base is now gone. And I'm thinking, I ain't gonna never find nobody. Where am I gonna get my husband from? And then the brothers that was there, a lot of them were dating Caucasian women, right? And it was just like, I felt so defeated. Like, I ain't gonna never find nobody. So that desperation started kicking in. And then how am I gonna meet a man that's gonna take on all of this that I have? A mama, an auntie, and a sister that can flip.
Right.
But then when I meet old boy, like I said, see, I set the table for him. I'm talking about I want this man that love God in the church, yeah. And he was in another state, but in California, another city. And I'm like, you can come down here till you get settled. You know, it's all good. I got you. Because, you know, I got my 30-year government job. I got you. Like I said, don't be inviting nobody to your table that ain't got nothing on the plate. Homeboy showed up with a plate and some silverware. And I'm thinking it's the real thing. But it was a con. But that was my neediness, my desperation, and I'm 45. I ain't gonna find nobody. Time's a ticking.
Right.
Yeah. God said,
that's why I said I think that a lot of times with women, we feel as though, okay, well, I'm at a certain age, so I need to be married, or I'm at a certain age, so I need to have somebody. And then I think that in today's time, people look at celebrity relationships, looking at their relationships and taking expert like, oh, relationship goals, because they're looking at the glamour of it, because you see them taking trips or you see them doing different things. But it's like a lot of times those are the relationships that be the ones that's going through the most drama than your actual relationship. Like it's all about, because sometimes their relationships and what they're doing is more for, like like social media is for attention. Like you have people who are what you call these the influencers, and the people who are they just post, you know, like what they call it when you just posting what you're doing all the time.
Blogging, influence.
Yeah, like some people are just putting out that stuff. Like a lot of times they're not going to put out what's really going on in their lives. They're only going to post what people are what's clickable, I should say. So I'm showing you, if I'm a person who wants the world to think that I'm happy all the time and I'm doing good all the time, I'm going to post all these things with this person showing, you know, oh, we're smiling, we're happy, we good. And it's like, okay, that's nice. I guess we may have some good times, but yes, there's going to be some bad, but you're never going to post the bad. Like people are never going to see people's bad moments online. So that's why I tell people you can't always look at what's online, because there's a lot of things that's going on offline that you are never like, look at, prime example, look at Will Smith and Jada Pinkett. Everybody
just been the same.
I was like, this is relationship goals. And then here it is. They were separated all this time. We kept saying relationship. I wish I was like that. And then here it is. They weren't even together. But for pictures and for the public, they made everybody think that they was this most happiest couple in the world.
Sis, we be too much. We be on too. Because remember back in the day, and that was the main couple that back in the day when I never will forget this. Jada Pinkett was on the Oprah Winfrey Show, and Jada was sitting there talking about when she and Will got together, and she was she ended up Trey, the son Trey that Will had with the other woman, that how she had to let Trey know that she respected his mother. Because he didn't trust me to know that I respected his mother, he would never believe that she wouldn't respect him. And so from when I heard that way back then, I said, now that she mature as heck for a young woman, because she was like in her late 20s then when all this was going on. But see, little did we know, she didn't want to marry Will back then.
Yeah, she said that.
All of this time had passed, and I was like,
she cried going down the aisle.
Crying down the aisle, and I'm all like, you don't never hear nothing about them in Hollywood. They are a solid couple. They got all this money. They are a good old couple. And I mean, she over there screwing the son's friend, took advantage of him. Will got permanent girlfriends that he traveled with. I was like, I was blown away with that. But that's the only couple that I was kind of looking at like that. Like they got this all teed up. You know, they owned it, they family. But no, it was trickery for real. But that's their business. If they like it, I love it.
But that's just like Michelle Obama said that the other day. She was like, everybody kept saying relationship goals even when it came to her. But she kept saying that the same thing. She said, yes, it's not the worst. We have our moments too. But you know, and she's like, people kept like coming at her for saying that comment, but like she was like, I'm being honest. Like there's going to be things that are going to happen. There's never going to be, you know, something perfect all the time. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be things and that's what any relationship, whether it's a relationship with a partner, whether it's a relationship with a friend, whether it's a relationship with your friends, it's always going to be something that may happen where y'all going to have some kind of conflict. And it's just, and to me, I feel like there's always going to be a conflict. It's just how you're going to resolve it. How is that going to be resolved? If you can come, like I feel it's like even when it comes to certain things, if we can resolve it and we can still smile after this, then there was some true love, some true feeling, some true everything there. But if you don't like my comment and we can't come off, or we have an issue and you can't deal with me after this situation, then therefore we were never close. We never had
real anyway.
So therefore our relationship was never real.
That is such true facts. And that's what I know to be real, because in those moments, if you could still have a conversation, and I call them come to Jesus meetings, that we can have a come to Jesus meeting.
I have to put you on. Hold on 1 second. I'm going to go ahead. You can keep going. I'm going to have to step away for 1 second.
Okay.
You see how loud moments be. Hold on 1 second.
But here's the deal, you guys, that if you can have real conversations with someone and you can work through it, talk through it with real communication, then it's salvageable. Because I don't mean to come off like, that's what I say a lot of times when I talk about my relationships. Some people can't accept it because they think you bragging. But I count it a blessing in that it is Jesus that in 7 years that me and my husband may have had 2 big blow-ups, and they was about his ex. They was about the following up of the relationship with the ex, in a scenario concerning him, and that wasn't going to be tolerated. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, there was my days when I was huffing and puffing, and I was drinking, and I just, you know, I don't take kindly to disrespect, and it was coming from her, and I had to nip it in the bud. But in those moments, that if you could look, I could look back over these 7 years and be like, damn, I don't argue like that. I used to be arguing on the way to church. How crazy is that? I was arguing when I woke up. I was crying when I came home from work, and just trying to get an understanding. But when you're dealing with somebody that their communication skills are caught up, and a lot of times people are caught where they trauma caught them. At 7 years old, I was dealing with a 55-year-old man and a 7-year-old body and mindset. But if you could talk to somebody and sit down, because remember I told you, sis, I can't have a man standing over me talking to me, because that looked like trauma. Like, no, just sit down. And God told me to sit down. And you see how I could get passionate, I could get loud. My husband told me, God told me, you can't talk like that to him. Because my husband was shut down. He's not an argumentative guy. He'll press his lips and be like, he'll give me that look like. And I'll be like, well, let's talk about this, because I think we got to get on the same page. If I see that pressed lip, then I got to get us on the same page. But that's his.
That's a good thing. I think that's really good though that y'all have different energies too, because I think that makes things so much better. Because like where you might be more of the outgoing person, he might be the more laid back. So it's like that helps y'all kind of cope together when it comes to things that y'all not the same. You know what I mean? Where sometimes you have those partners where y'all are so much alike, where if you pop off, they popping off. So now y'all just pop off couple. You know what I mean? You need somebody to kind of calm it down. Like, hey, don't do that. We're not going to do that. We're going to handle this a different way.
That's a good point.
So that's really good that you have somebody that is the opposite of that. So
he is the yin. And I'm the yang. But when we first got together, even when I was out here, like my HOA dude would be doing weird shit, and I'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna deal with that. No, he ain't gonna disrespect me. Right. Yeah. This was 7 years ago. He ain't gonna be talking to me. My husband would be so calm. He said, "Well, babe, did you think about it like this? Did you know what? This is what the bylaws do say in there. F them bylaws. He ain't gonna be talking to me like."
Yeah, and it's so funny because I laugh because I used to get so worked up on things. And then it's like, as I got older, I realized that it's really not worth it. I'm getting so worked up. And then I be even like people around me, I'm always like trying to calm them down too when it comes to situation. Cause I'm like, it's really not that serious. It's really, and then for me, I have learned for myself I learned how, and I'm still working on it, but I have been trying my best within me to not do anything at the moment of terror. Like if there's a problem, I come back. I don't even want to have a conversation. I have learned, I now am the type that I don't want to talk while it's happening. I want to talk after it's happening because now I'm thinking straight. I'm not popping off and I'm not just saying the first thing that come on my head because I might be hurtful and I might regret what I said later on. So it's best that I be like, you know what? Let me just step away from you. Let me get away from you for a little bit. Let me get my mind right. And then let's talk about it. And I think a lot of times people always talk about money. But honestly, I feel like a lot of times it's communication. Because people just really don't a lot of times know how to communicate. Like some people just really, like when it comes to communication, you have to know how to be able to deal when it comes to having that kind of communication.
Sis, you saying something. You are preaching. You are preaching right now. And that's what we have to get. And even like right now, a few months back, I called the HOA guy. Girl, like I said, I'm gonna have my attorney talk to them because I'm not gonna have any more of this combative energy. Right. And I told my husband, I talked to him, I called Justin and blah, blah, blah. My husband looked at me, he said, "You and Justin had a conversation?" He was shocked. But that is so true, sis, because in those moments, here's the thing. Here's the takeaway, gang. Never make a permanent decision based on temporary emotions. Because if you make permanent decisions and you are in that temporary emotion and the fire is coming from your feet and it's going to get to your ears and your head and you're not thinking, that is when trouble starts. That is when the problems start popping for real. And that could be a manner of things and it's not good. And that's what you want to remember. Never make a permanent decision based on temporary emotions. And you have the authority to change it. And ladies, if any of you are out there right now under the sound of my voice, hallelujah. Let me encourage you to no longer to be verbal assassins. And I was a verbal assassin, but I know that, and I have to keep it under control. And I'm not blaming it on my mom, but my mom told me never put my hands on a man unless you're ready to prepare to fight, because some men will fight you like a man. But I took that to be, I ain't got to hit you, but I can mow you down with my mouth. And that's male or female. Just a few weeks back, this messy chick, I could have chewed her face off. But the Spirit of the Lord said, don't do it. Forgive her. Right. And that's the place I had to come from, is a place of forgiveness. And we not intended. And as we walking in our queendom, again, that come to Jesus peace. You bring peace over you. You have control over your mind and your mouth. And the power of the tongue, life and death, is in the power of your tongue. And I'm telling you, if you're out there killing people with your mouth, believe me, people not forgetting what you're saying. And sometimes we wound people to the core. And it's not necessary, because if it's that bad, you may want to get away from them anyway.
Right.
Just keep it moving. So that's my advice for the day, because I was a victim of that, and I have victimized people, and I called it, I'm just protecting myself. But I give you a couple chances to get on away from me or stop that before I come at you. But that still did not make it right. I could be a verbal assassin and tear you apart. I know I did that to one guy one time, girl, years later. He still ain't never forgot it. And for me, it was a simple statement. I was like, I lowered my standard to even talk to you. I guess that cut pretty deep.
Right.
But it was what it was. And you know, when you saying it, you know, you put a little sauce and a little stank on it.
Get that neck rolling. I know.
You didn't disrespect me. No, and disrespect is the trigger.
Right.
I knew you weren't disrespecting me, and I lowered my standards to talk to you. Oh, I put some stank on it. And that was without profanity, I think.
And
I'm just saying,
it's gotta be about that communication. That communication is key. So I tell everybody, first off, what she just said, that slogan, can you say it one more time? I think that needs to be on the shirt.
To never make permanent decisions based on temporary emotions.
That's it right there, y'all. That right there. Listen to that right there. You gotta go by that. That is.
I'm a witness. I'm a witness.
We are going to go ahead and end this for y'all tonight, because we just wanted to come on, give y'all some conversation and see y'all out here. But if y'all see at the bottom of the screen about the Business Oscars event, I'm going to tell y'all about it. We are going to be going November 1st. Is going to be the Business Oscars. With this event is about promoting business owners. This is about putting business owners in the front of many people. So this is all about showing love. So if you click on the link, you see the link is below here on the scroll. I want you to go on there, because not only do you can get a ticket and be part of the event where you can have all the entertainment and everything too, but I want people to go on there and nominate if you can, even if you want to nominate yourself, if you may not know a business owner, or you don't know somebody who may be worth getting an award or something like that, because this is all about small business owners, entrepreneurs that are either new or existing, who need to be able to put their stuff out there, put their business out there, and get in the front of people where they can talk about what they got going on, share what they got going on, have little bags so people can go home with what they got going on, so we just want to support one another. And in our community, we need to do more of that, because we have more outsiders that will support than we have inside. And so this is why this event is important, because it's about bringing small business owners together, showing people that, hey, you might have not made $1 million this year, but guess what? Even if you made $5, I want to show you some love for the $5 that you made this year. I want you to walk up on the stage and get your award for that $5 that you made, because you stuck in there. You did your thing, and it might have not grown this year, but sometimes in business, what people have to understand is it takes time. It's never overnight success. Businesses take time. Somebody else's do never compare, because somebody else may get it quicker than you. However, your time is coming. It's just not your time right at this moment. But God have a position for you. And when it happens, trust me, you're going to be glowing like the star you are. So when you come out to this event, I just want y'all to all, like they sing in a song, put a light on it. Put a light on them. So we're going to be putting a light on y'all business owners. We want to give y'all your love, give it your flowers, and that's what the Oscars is all about. And it's going to be for real. It's going to be a red carpet event. So when you come to this event, I don't want you all coming there looking tacky. I want y'all to be in y'all finest, y'all red carpet finest, y'all gowns, y'all dresses, y'all suits. I want y'all done up, because there's going to be a photographer taking them pictures. You're going to be in there just like you was a celebrity. That's how it's going to be for you. So go ahead and get y'all tickets, and I will see y'all in November 1st. And I want to thank y'all for coming on with the Denises right here, Denise Murray and Denise Day. And we will see y'all again next Thursday. Talk to y'all later.
Ciao. Love you guys. Love from Vegas.
Bye.